Excalibur, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, written and recreated by Jenne Saunders.
In the darkest hour of Britain, when Saxon armies ravaged the land and kings fell like autumn leaves, a prophecy whispered of a boy who would unite the realm.
I was but a squire when I grasped the sword in the stone. The moment Excalibur sang in my hands, I knew my destiny was sealed. From across the channel I came, drawn by tales of a king who fought not for conquest, but for justice.
When Arthur first rode into my father's court, I saw not just a king, but a man who carried the weight of a nation's hope.
Even then, in those golden early days, I watched from the shadows, knowing that every kingdom built on dreams must one day face the harsh light of reality.
Though I was yet unborn, the seeds of our greatest quest were already planted in that moment when Arthur claimed his throne.
Behold the Round Table. Here no man sits higher than another. Here we are bound not by birth but by honor.
150 seats I carved with ancient magic, each bearing the name of a knight destined for greatness.
To protect the innocent, to show mercy to our enemies, to serve our king with unwavering loyalty. These were the oaths we swore.
I watched these noble men pledge their lives to an ideal, never knowing how that very nobility would become their undoing.
The siege perilous remained empty, waiting for one pure enough to claim it. That burden would one day fall to me.
Perfect unity, they called it. But I saw the cracks even then. Pride masquerading as honor, desire hidden beneath duty.
In those shining years, we rode forth on quests that would echo through eternity. The Holy Grail called to us across the mists of time. Lancelot duels with enemy knight in forest clearing, his skill unmatched. The floating Excalibur watches over the combat like a divine witness. The fairy circles the fighters, her dust marking the righteousness of Lancelot's cause. Other knights observe from horseback, recognizing his supremacy.
I was the greatest knight who ever lived. Yet my greatest victory became my greatest shame. Love makes fools of even the mightiest warriors. Guinevere tends to wounded Lancelot in Castle Infirmary, their eyes meeting with forbidden understanding. The floating Excalibur dims slightly, sensing the coming betrayal. The fairy's dust swirls between them, beautiful but ominous, foreshadowing the tragedy their love will bring.
What began as admiration became something deeper. Something that would tear apart everything Arthur had built. Merlin studies ancient prophecies in his tower, scrolls and mystical artifacts surrounding him. The floating Excalibur hovers near his crystal ball, both showing visions of the future. The fairy perches sadly on his shoulder as he reads the inevitable doom. Magical symbols glow ominously on the walls.
Foresaw the tragedy but was powerless to prevent it. Some destinies cannot be changed, only endured. Arthur sits on his throne, crown heavy on his brow, the weight of kingship evident. The floating Excalibur hovers beside the throne, its light reflecting his inner turmoil. The fairy dances around him, trying to warn of the betrayal he cannot see. Courtiers bow before him, unaware of the drama unfolding.
I loved them both. My greatest knight and my beloved queen. That love blinded me to the poison spreading through my court. Mordred meets with discontented nobles in castle's lower chambers, plotting in shadows. The floating Excalibur appears distant and dim here, its light unable to penetrate the growing darkness. The fairy hovers at the chamber's edge, her dust creating warning patterns that go unheeded.
While they chased their noble dreams, I gathered the discontented, the ambitious, those who saw opportunity in chaos. The affair was my weapon, sharper than any blade. When I revealed the truth, the Round Table shattered like glass. Guinevere bound to stake as flames are lit below. her face showing resignation and sorrow. The floating Excalibur hovers overhead, its light dimmed by the tragedy. The fairy weeps silver tears that fall like rain, trying to extinguish the flames. Crowds watch in stunned silence.
Condemned to burn for my betrayal, I watched as everything we'd built crumbled to ash around us. Lancelot charges through the crowd on horseback, sword drawn to rescue Guinevere. The floating Excalibur blazes with conflicted light, justice warring with loyalty. The fairy flies ahead of him, her dust creating a path through the chaos. Knights fall before his desperate assault.
I rescued her from the flames, but in doing so, I drew sword against my brothers. The fellowship died that day. Arthur in full armor leads his remaining knights across stormy waters in pursuit. The floating Excalibur cuts through the storm clouds above them. The fairy struggles against the wind, her dust scattered by the tempest. Ships battle the waves as the kingdom tears itself apart. My kingdom split in two, those loyal to me and those who followed Lancelot. In my rage, I pursued him across the sea. Mordred sits on Arthur's throne wearing a dark crown, his supporters surrounding him. The floating Excalibur hovers far above, its light barely reaching the usurped throne. The fairy hides in the shadows, her dust creating protective wards around loyal subjects who resist.
While Arthur warred abroad, Mordred seized the throne. The final battle was inevitable. Father against son, light against shadow. Galahad kneels in ethereal light, the Holy Grail floating before him as he achieves perfect grace. The floating Excalibur appears beside the Grail, both sacred artifacts united. The fairy bows before Galahad's purity, her dust creating halos of divine light. Yet even this triumph cannot save the kingdom.
I had found the Grail and achieved perfect grace, but even that could not save us from ourselves.
At Camelot, Mordred and I dealt each other mortal wounds. As I lay dying, I commanded that Excalibur return to the lake.
To Avalon they bore him, where he sleeps still, waiting for Britain's darkest hour, when the once and future king shall rise again.
I lived to see the end of all I'd helped create. In a monastery, I sought the forgiveness that eluded me in life.
In a convent's walls, I found the peace that the crown could never give me.
The Grail was taken up to heaven, but its light still shines for those pure enough to see it.
I destroyed Camelot, yes, but in doing so I made it eternal. Legends are born from the ashes of fallen kingdoms.
I do hope you enjoyed my version of this great story. Told by many, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Kisses, Jenne Saunders.